welcome, and thank you for coming to our play, The Rainbow Crow. This is my favorite time of year where we are able in beginning school to learn about Native American culture and history. And this story, The Rainbow Crow, is a Native American folktale, and it explains how the crow, through very selfless and brave acts, is able to save the other animals from the snow and is rewarded greatly for his acts, or for her acts. So without further ado, we would like to present The Rainbow Crow.
Long, long ago, before men and women walked the earth, the weather was always warm and the animals were always happy. But one day, something happened to cause the earth to grow cold. Tiny crystals, glistening like diamonds, drifted down from the sky, covering the earth with a sparkling softness. Now the animals, seeing this for the first time, were not afraid, but very curious. But soon the snow deepened. And Mouse disappeared. The tip of his tail was all that the animals could see, and they began to worry. Then Rabbit disappeared. The tip of her ears were all that the animals could see, and they really worried. At last, they gathered together to talk about the weather. They decided a messenger needed to travel at once to the Great Sky Spirit to ask him to stop the snow. But who would be willing to leave the earth to visit where the Sky Spirit lived? Possum stood up and said, "Owl is the wisest.
Owl is the wisest.
Perhaps he should go."
Perhaps he should go.
But the animals said,
No!
"He might get lost in the light of day, so Owl should not go." Then Beaver stood up and said, "Perhaps Raccoon should go." But the animals said,
No!
"She might follow her tail instead of her nose, so Raccoon should not go." Then Deer stood up and said, "Perhaps Coyote should go."
Perhaps Coyote should go.
But the animals said,
No!
"Coyote is clever and loves to play tricks. He might chase the clouds or swallow the wind, so Coyote should not go." The noisy animals screeched and howled. They could not decide who should visit the Great Sky Spirit to ask him to stop the snow. And so the snow grew deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Until they almost disappeared. Then suddenly down from the top of the tallest tree flew Rainbow Crow, the most beautiful bird on earth. who called out to all the animals below in the sweetest voice of all birds and said, I will go.
I would go.
I will stop the snow.
I would stop the snow.
And the animals, happy at last to have Crow as their messenger, said, Yay!
Yay!
And sang a song of praise, singing, Yucca, 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 yucca.
Yucca, 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 yucca.
Rain, rainbow crow.
Rain, rainbow crow.
Stop the snow, crow.
Stop the snow, crow.
Fly to the sky high.
Like the sky high.
Rain, rainbow crow.
Rain, rainbow crow.
Yucca, 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 yucca.
Yucca, 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 yucca.
Then high up into the sky flew Rainbow Crow, far above the snow and the wind of the earth, way beyond the moon and the stars and the clouds. For 3 days, For 3 days, Crow flew until she came to the great sky spirit, who was just too busy to notice her. So Rainbow Crow began to sing, la 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 la. Now the great sky spirit stopped to listen. Never before had he heard such a sweet song come from such a beautiful voice. And he told Crow to choose a gift.
Choose a gift.
Now Crow knew that far below on earth, the snow was getting so deep that soon all the animals would disappear. So she asked the great spirit to please stop the cold.
Please stop the cold.
The great sky spirit replied, no, Crow,
No, Crow.
I cannot stop the snow.
I cannot stop the snow.
For snow has a spirit of its own. When snow spirit leaves the clouds to visit with his friend, the wind spirit, the snow will stop, but earth will still be cold. So Crow asked the great spirit to please stop the cold.
Please stop the cold.
And the great spirit replied, no, Crow,
No, Crow.
I cannot stop the cold.
I cannot stop the cold.
All I can do is give you the gift of fire. Fire will keep you warm and will melt the snow so that your friends will be warm. I give you this gift but once, so hurry and fly back to earth before the fire disappears. And off flew Crow. On the first day, Crow flew down and showering sparks of fire flew down, darkening her tail feathers. On the second day, as Crow flew down, the fire burned brighter and the stick grew shorter. And all of Crow's feathers were covered in soot. On the third day, as Crow flew down, the fire was so hot and the stick was so short that smoke and ash blew into Crow's mouth, and her voice became cracked and hoarse, sounding like
Caw, caw.
And when at last Crow returned to the clearing of the forest, all the animals had disappeared. And so she melted the snow. So all the animals disappeared, and Crow came down and melted the snow. And that tiny stick of fire became the grandfather of all fires. And for this, all the animals on earth stood up and said, "Thank you, Crow."
Thank you, Crow.
And chanted a song of praise, singing, "Yucca, yucca, yucca, yucca.
Yucca, 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 yucca.
Kind, young, brave crow
Kind, young, brave crow.
saved us from snow.
Saved us from snow.
Flew to the sky high,
Flew to the sky high.
brought back fire.
Brought back fire.
Now just plain crow.
Now just plain crow.
No more rainbow.
No more rain.
Yucca, 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 yucca.
Yucca, 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 yucca.
And the animals went back to their homes in the forest. All alone, Rainbow Crow flew to a distant tree where she began to cry. She no longer was beautiful. She no longer could sing a sweet song. Her rainbow feathers were gone forever. When the snow spirit emptied the clouds and joined the wind spirit, the snow did stop, but Crow just kept on crying. The great sky spirit heard Crow and came down from the sky. And when he saw Crow, he said, "People will appear on earth.
People will appear on earth.
They will take the fire
They'll take the fire
and be master
and be master
of all but you
all but you.
for being so brave
Being so brave
and unselfish.
and unselfish.
I give you
I give you
the gift of freedom.
the gift of freedom.
People will never hunt you, for your meat tastes like fire and smoke. People will never capture you, for your beautiful voice is now crackly and hoarse. People will never want your feathers, because your rainbow colors are now black. But your black feathers will shine, and they will reflect all the colors on earth. And if you look closely, you'll see." Then Crow looked, and she saw hundreds of tiny rainbows shining in her black feathers, and she was happy. The great sky spirit returned to his home in the distant sky. And Crow happily returned to her friends in the forest, proud that she was now Black Crow with shiny feathers full of tiny rainbows. The end.
We would like to introduce our cast. All right, our bear today was Tessa. Our rabbit was Allison. Our coyote was Easton. Our moose was Abby. Our mouse was Max. Our snow spirits were Taylor and Olivia. Our possum was Beatrice. Our owl was James. Our beaver was Ira.